5. I don't want to be too redundant from the past few years. And again, how many of y'all want to go in the newspaper business? Okay. I see a couple. All right, excellent. All right, fantastic. Well, that's pretty good. That's actually seems like a lot more folks than last year, which is great. It is a great business, and I will give my. I'm always supposed to sort of give the State of the Nation report, and I'll do that briefly. I've been at the Forward Star Telegram for about 13 years, and up till about 2 years ago, I was responsible for one of the suburban editions of the Star Telegram. Forward Star Telegram is one of the old, it's about the size of the Indianapolis Star in terms of circulation. Since that time, we had about 1,500 employees at that time. Today, we have about 800 employees. How my job has changed in the last 2 years is I now have a second edition I oversee. I now work with all the pro sports teams and handle all our marketing agreements with them. I now oversee a dozen weekly newspapers, which we also own. I was writing a column a couple of years ago on health policy, which gets distributed nationally. I'm now writing editorials on healthcare because our editorial paid staff is about half of what it was before. In fact, last week I invoked the Daily Student because somebody called me and said, I called the editorial page there and said, I got an idea for an editorial. And I said, blah, blah, blah. She said, great. I said, all right, when would you like it? Can you write it today? I said, okay. And so I wrote it by 2 p.m., and it was in the paper the next day, which, as I remember, I was editorial page editor of this place. That's how we ran it. We need an editorial tomorrow. Does anybody have an opinion? If not, come up with one before the 2 p.m. class. So that's kind of where we are. It's a very, very difficult business right now. McClatchy is one of the larger newspaper companies. It's got 3 dozen newspapers, but it bought Knight Ridder at the top of the market, so they got this big, very large debt that they're trying to pay back. And so as a result, they've really had to ratchet things down. Again, I said our staff's about half the size it was before. So it's a very difficult situation. Our internet operations are really holding their own, actually kind of growing a little bit, but it's difficult to get the digital side to grow faster, as fast as it needs to get to kind of match the decline in the print paper. So, we're sort of knocking that out. We announced yesterday that we made $11 million in I think it was the second quarter, third quarter. It was like a 3% profit margin, which 2 or 3 years ago it was 30% profit margin. So we're really kind of getting on the edge here. I think I mentioned last year, there's a lot of opportunities in smaller papers. Smaller papers are starting to feel a little bit too. I mean, the big problem in the newspaper business is our best customers are struggling. Department stores built newspapers, newspapers built department stores, and other than Kohl's and a few of the discounters, there's really very few department stores that are really thriving right now. So between that and the auto dealers and the real estate folks, it's kind of a difficult situation. But I mentioned this last year, and I believe it even more now. I think the number of journalism grads it's increased. I think I read like 50% over the last few years, which is fantastic. I'm convinced now more than ever that this is a tremendous major to have. Back when we were going here, it was really more of a trade school. Now you're really learning skills that you can apply in so many different ways. You have so many different platforms you can do. I mean, I think Facebook's only goes back like to 2004, and Twitter's 2006. I mean, if you were here on the 5-year plan, all that's happened while you were here. So imagine what that's going to look like in 5 years from now. All that landscape is really going to change. I was at a breakfast meeting the other day woman about 30 years old got up, was addressing somebody from, I think, Education Coordination Commission, some kind of bureaucratic thing out of Austin. And she said, I do a lot of hiring. She was like 30 years old. She said, I'm really good with technology, and I really keep up with it. Now, the kids who come in that I hire blow me away. There's no way I can keep up with them technologically. On the other hand, they cannot put a sentence together. Everybody said, "Ooh, yeah," there was always murmurs in the crowd. Yeah, that's really the case. So, automatically, what you're doing here is a differentiator. The fact that you are gonna take these skills and be able to do so many different things with them. Who knows? I mean, again, Twitter, Facebook just came up, and we're trying to figure that out, how to use that in our own operation. What are you going to be doing in farming? So you're arming yourself. It's great that you're thinking about going to newspapers. Those of you that aren't, there's still an awful lot of great opportunities out there. And it's amazing where this thing will take you because of what you're doing. My daughter, Megan, put your hand up there. She's a 2005 journalism graduate, University of Texas. She now does media relations for the second largest hospital network in Texas. And what she does is, coming out of here, I would think, oh, she's just doing a flat job. Actually, what she does is extremely journalistic. She tells her hospital's stories through the media. And how does she do that? She kind of works like an assignment editor. She walked into one of the larger hospitals not too long ago. She said, there's stories coming out of the walls here. And what she'll do is she takes her story ideas, and then she figures out what's the best medium to tell the story. Some are very visual, which is TV. Some are really good with social networks. Some are newspaper stories. And then she will then go out and contact journalists and really kind of give them story ideas. And frankly, because of what she learned, she worked on the Daily Texan. Because of her journalism major and because of her work on the Daily Texan, she's got great news judgment. And those journalists, again, Dallas-Fort Worth, that's kind of major league journalism, whether it's broadcast or print. They respect her news judgment, and that's why her stuff gets in the paper or gets online or is broadcast. So what she does is extremely journalistic, and it's not like what we think about if we were working on a newspaper, going from this newspaper, having come here from a high school paper,